Let's get going, and we're going to take some things out of order. So we're going to do the vote first and then get to the sewer and water board presentation. But Anita, do you want to go ahead and do roll call?
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Jeruso.
Here.
Councilmember King.
Here.
Councilmember Green. Councilmember Thomas. Oh, we have quorum.
Great. Thank you, Anita. Today is Monday, August 28th, and this is the 9th Quality of Life Committee meeting for 2023. Today's meeting will have the Sewer and Water Board present their escalations team and status of infrastructure repairs. And we will also consider a motion from Councilmember Jeruso to add requirements for electrical backup generators. So we'll go to item 4 on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be quick. This is a study motion to City Planning Commission about both gas powered generators and battery powered generators. My office, and I assume others, have received many complaints from residents about fumes and potential carbon monoxide runoff from gas powered generators. Like many other older cities, New Orleans neighborhood boasts small yard space between houses, and these homes typically have old floors and wooden siding, old vents, and aged wooden windows. None of these features insulate against atmospheric fumes or odors. CDC recommends operating gas generators more than 20 feet from a window, door, or vent. We know that's not always possible in our city, but we can try to have safer regulations so the gas generator isn't right next to a resident's bedroom. As it stands, the comprehensive zoning ordinance does not have specific regulations for generators in residentially zoned districts. We also understand the Board of Zoning Adjustments has received a substantial number of varied requests from people seeking to reduce the required setback. So we've asked City Planning to consider different regulations for urban and suburban districts. In addition, at Councilmember Moreno's suggestion, we've also added language for different regulations for battery backup systems, which don't emit the same type of issues as gas generators do. Also want to thank Claire in my office and Stephen Kroll for their help in crafting this motion and providing valuable insight. So with that, I would move for approval, subject to any comments. None. Okay. Seconded by Councilmember Green. 4 yeas, no nays, and I just asked if we place this on the consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jeruso. Let's go to number 2, which is approval of the minutes from July 24th, the Quality of Life meeting. Can we do a voice? I'll move. Seconded by Councilmember King. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, perfect. All right, y'all are up. Will you introduce yourselves for us? And let me just preface this by saying, I know this is a Quality of Life Committee meeting, but I do think it's important that you all appear and provide an update, especially because my office has been working really hard with Steve Nelson, Ryan Daigle, and their team at the Sewer and Water Board to inspect and address infrastructure repairs. This year, we've completed 9 ride-alongs in 12 neighborhoods. And we have actually seen a vast improvement in service cuts and other work that needs to be completed. There's still much to do, I understand, but I know that Steve and Ryan are working really hard. And I told Gaston that Steve and Ryan are my favorite SWEBNO employees because they are so responsive. I can't even tell you the difference. So with that, y'all can take the floor.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. We're very excited to be here, evident by majority of my leadership team being at the table. We have the rest of them in the room as well, and we have key staff members who have been managing a lot of critical projects for us also in the room in case you have any questions. Unfortunately, I cannot have any favorites. Everybody here is my favorite. They're all play their significant role, and that's why you have so many at the table. I recognizing that there's some technical difficulty with the screen, and the first screen that I was going to lead with today, and we have a lot of information to share with you, is our vision and mission. And what I wanted to share with you is that, you know, the quality of life is very embedded in our mission statement. And it's our DNA. This is what drives us every day. And we truly believe that what we do for our city enriches lives for our residents, our businesses, and our visitors as well. So we are very proud of what we do. And like I said, we're very proud of a lot of progress that we've made thus far on many critical projects. The other slide that I would have showed you would show the strategic plan that we embarked on a couple of years ago, because we know that stability and vision are very important for our utility. And we took a couple pages from the effective utility management playbook, and we took 6 areas of focus for the team to focus on. One was obviously the customer service excellence. One was financial stability. One is infrastructure resilience and reliability. The other ones are organizational and operations improvement, technology modernization, and workforce development and enrichment. And the reason we've focused on those, we wanted those to be drivers for all the decisions that we make in every area of our utility. And hopefully you will see as we present for you collectively that you're gonna see that consistency across. I also want to share 5 areas of focus in terms of projects and critical efforts that we have taken on for the last couple of years. And some things have been repaired, some are being repaired, and some will be repaired. And what I mean by repair will be resolutions will come to fruition very shortly. A lot of all these solutions are imminent. So obviously the first one is all the surface cuts that we have. We're going to talk about backlogs and how we're whittling that down. We're going to talk about how we're increasing reliability in how we deliver drinking water to your faucet, whether it's the distribution mains or feeder mains. We're going to talk about the quality of the water and how we are going to make it even better in the years to come. We're going to talk about the power complex and the modernization of how we will deliver power to critical piece of equipment, meaning pumps throughout the city. And lastly, and probably by far most critically, is the smart meter program. We're very excited where we are. We're tracking well. We have an interim solution for our challenges associated with bills. But we know that smart meter is here, and you're going to hear a lot of awesome news about that. So with that, I'm going to pass the presentation to Steve to talk about his part, and then we're just going to go down the table.
Great, thank you. And we actually have the slide deck too, so we can follow along here, but just not at home.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so very much. And I wanted to open with this discussion. We'll be talking a lot about communication today, but I want to be clear that the folks that deserve the credit for these improvements are the men and women who are working in the hottest summer that Louisiana has ever seen. These are folks that are completing 300 to 500 work orders a week in 100+ degree weather and have done so with very, very few heat-related incidents. They're working safe, they're working fast, and I'm so proud to be a part of that group that actually accomplishes the work. So a big thanks to all of them, our zone managers and our networks group. I wanted to open this presentation with some discussion about the maintenance escalations team, which you all are familiar with. It's been a really effective tool, I think, between our staffs and myself and our field crews in just providing some proactive communication on the status of physical repairs and the timelines for getting those done. As a quality of life committee meeting, I think infrastructure repairs and in particular paving has been a key focus for us. Is something that we really want to continue to improve on. And I think this tool has helped us to be able to diagnose some areas of improvement internally. And I think the numbers are showing that we're really making some solid progress. There's been kind of 5 key outcomes on the communication realm, starting with an established team. And all of this is still kind of fluid. We're not finished with it yet. We continue to develop. Ryan, as a council member mentioned, has been stepping in, but we did interview another comms member on Friday. I will continue to be involved. And all of this has been done with Ghassan and the leadership's team's full support. So it's been a really, I think, successful effort. And as I think kind of ushering in a new era of being able to communicate directly with our customers about the needs that they have. We've also established a tracking mechanism for individual issues. So while every issue that is called into the Sewerage and Water Board gets a service request, those that are related to water, sewer, and large drainage have work orders. There are specific issues that either are long lead items or more complicated issues. We've begun tracking those individually, and I think that's been really helpful too, and we want to continue to develop that tool. We've also developed a monthly group forum with all of the council district offices and our staff to be able to sit down and talk through those specific issues and then bigger picture items. And that's included our billing staff as well. So I think that's been really successful. And then we're also transmitting on a weekly basis all of our open and completed work orders. So along the lines of supporting our strategic plan, being clear and transparent so that you all have the ability to communicate with our customers as well. All of this has kind of led to a reduction in delivery timeline. So if you look at the next slide, what we did when I started here in January of this year is we went back and we looked at all of our work order types and we looked at the average open to close, so the completion timeline, so that we could have kind of a baseline against which to measure ourselves. And what we found is that as of June of this year, in all of the major categories, with the exception of one, we've seen some really significant improvements. So water hydrant leaks, we're completing 41% faster, sewer main repairs, almost 40% faster, as well as water services, lead service line or sewer lead replacements. And then what I also wanted to show is that for those sewer manhole overflows and those sewer backups, with the exception of sewer mains, and we're working to get some more equipment so we get that back down to 0, we are at a same day response time. And we want to be sure that we're presenting this so that we continue to give you all this information so that we're keeping ourselves accountable for the group. As I mentioned before, paving has been a major concern for all of our customers. It's a quality of life issue. And while I think that water and sewer issues have been dealt with in a pretty reasonable time frame, our average when I started here in January was about 101 days, which is a very, very long time. As of our latest numbers, we've cut that back to 80, along with some partnership with DPW and our on-call contractors. Our goal is to take that overall backlog from where it started in 2023 at 3,000 open paving work orders down to 1,000 or less by the end of the year. And we want to be able to get down to a lead time of 2 to 4 weeks for an open paving cut. That probably won't happen in 2023, but we have a roadmap to get there in 24, because that's the kind of thing where you can really affect the livelihood of your customers. We really have been focusing on that. To kind of put some numbers on the focus on our paving repair resources, when we started looking at this in January, we had 2 paving crews. So across our 8 different physical infrastructure groups, there are 7 that are focused on water, sewer, and drainage. And between those 7, there were about 35 crews, and we only had 2 doing pavement restoration. So you can see that that kind of creates an imbalance. It's good that we're making the water and sewer repairs, but we also really recognize we need to ramp up the street repairs. And so with Ghassan's direction, we've been able to hire additional crews. We have additional equipment for concrete and asphalt in the field. And I'm really pleased to say that we are at this point, as of the last month, really in real time and keeping up with the cuts that we make just internally. So there's kind of 2 big rocks that we need to lift. The first is taking that overall backlog of 3,000 work orders and reducing it down to 600 to 1,000 by year's end. And we're going to do that through the MaxPave program, through our on-call contractors. And then going forward, we need to be able to keep up with those work orders that we create, those cuts that we create. And that second piece, I really believe that we're there at this point as of the last month or so, which is really exciting to me. So going forward, we should simply see that backlog decreasing and getting us to that 2 to 4 week timeline. Looking at some of the funding, DPW has given us a little over $8 million, which is fantastic. IAB has also been a great partner in providing $4 million in additional funds. And then when you figure in what we had initially budgeted, we will have spent just shy of $16 million on paving this year. So we've heard our customers, we've heard what you all have passed along, and this has been a point of emphasis in 23 and will continue to be into 24 until we address this issue fully. I wanted to touch base on our JIRR FEMA related projects and just give you a quick update on where we are with that program. We have 71 projects in post-construction, 38 in construction, 8 that are in bid and award this year, and another 110 yet to come. So we're just about halfway through that program at this point. Projects that you all may, on the next slide, be looking into right now or getting feedback on. We have 2 that have been completed this year, South Dupree and then Eden Grape and Dupree. These are some transmission main projects. That means it's street repairs, but it's also water lines greater than 16 inches. Projects that are in progress, St. Bernard and Fig and Leonidas, they've finished the subsurface work by and large and are working on the restoration currently. And the project that's probably most visible right now is the project ongoing on South Claiborne. We're replacing and lining a 48-inch water main, which is going to make a big difference for us in terms of water supply redundancy to the CBD. I know that you all have gotten a lot of feedback on reduced pressure in the neighborhood from Children's Hospital all the way down to the CBD and then further into Central City. We have the contractor doing the last tie-in. We're hoping this week, provided they've passed their pressure testing, and then we should see a significant increase in pressure here over the next week and a half. I know that's been a challenge. We look forward to having that finished. One thing I did want to note with that project, we are trying to be proactive in doing not just point repairs, but doing full line replacements. And Ron and I were discussing yesterday, we've seen our overall production numbers drop by just about 10% at the Carrollton Water Plant. So the leaks that we're getting out of this main were significant. And so by being able to stop those leaks, we're able to produce less water, which is great for the utility in the long run. There's a photo here on the next page. You can see a couple of pictures. One illustrating the installation of the line, and then the next illustrating the full length there from Tulane Stadium all the way down past Upper Line, where we're going to be lining and replacing that 48-inch line. And I know Councilmember Harris, as we've driven Claiborne, you can see a lot of leaks past that. Those are all going to be addressed by this project. So that's really exciting. I wanted to also talk a little bit about our Water Hammer program. So FEMA has been a great partner for us here at the Sewerage and Water Board, and there are a handful of really critical projects. One of those being the Water Tower Water Hammer Reduction Project. When you look out at our Carrollton Water Plant, everyone will notice those 2 big towers, and those were created and designed so that when you have fast stop and starts, either with a pump or a valve within the system, that you would be able to mitigate the water hammer within your system, which is really damaging to your pipes. It also has the secondary benefit of taking our lead time prior to this project in 2018. We had about 2 minutes worth of time from when we lost power to when we started to see pressures drop below 20 PSI within the system. Now we have about 40 minutes, which allows us ample time to be able to bring backup power generation online and prevent those East Bank wide boil water advisories that we saw in 2018. We do still have boil water advisories locally, but we've been working internally to identify those repeat locations. There are especially some in New Orleans East, and figure out exactly what those causes are, and then working to eliminate those by replacing mains and valves so that we can reduce that number of localized boil water advisories. I wanted to talk a little bit about our annual water quality report. Hopefully everybody's received a copy of this brochure in your mailbox. It's also available on the link that we have here. It's swbno.org/drinking-water/quality. And this booklet, I think this is a new addition for this year. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback on it. It includes the testing results for a number of constituents, including those 90 regulated contaminants that EPA regulates. But it also talks about the status of the utility, power production, ongoing and future projects. There's a lot of really good information there. So I would strongly encourage our customers to take a look at that and ask any questions of us that they may have. Kind of some of the next steps. The next big step for us, Ghassan has mentioned the smart meter program that's well underway. Ron's going to talk about the power complex, but we really want to be focusing on the water treatment plant. The last major renovation we had on the East Bank was in 1959. And the age of that facility, which it works well, and we've done some really good things internally that we'll talk about here in a minute. It's an aging facility, and there are some upcoming water quality requirements that the EPA is going to be putting out there here in the next year or two that we really want to be able to prepare for and set the utility up for the next 50+ years. Right now, to forward that effort, we have a water quality master plan request for proposals that is on the street. We expect to receive those proposals in October and have a selection for a water quality master planning consultant here by year's end. That'll probably be a 1.5 to 2 year effort, a part of which will be helping us to lay out the exact technological requirements and the costs for our repairs that'll then allow us to pursue funding and execute replacement and repair components on that program. A couple of slides here to show you some of the things that we have done internally. So we're not just waiting for this planning document. Our internal engineering staff, our internal labor force, as well as some of our contractors have done some upgrades, particular to our Sycamore filter gallery. It was built in the 1920s, and we've been able to do some significant repairs for just over $500,000. You can see a handful of photographs there. You look at the Delary tubes. These are the tubes that collect the water at the bottom of the filter. You see here a picture of a filter gallery with the media removed. See a lot of corrosion on the left-hand side, and then you see the new pipes on the right. You can see another set of photographs here, which unfortunately are not on the screen, but you have them before you, replacing the filter media within the filtered beds. So a lot of the media in these beds were 2 and 3 times their useful life, functioning well, but needed to be replaced. And we've had a lot of success in doing that as well. The last photo is probably the most dramatic. This is a picture of some of the existing structural steel and some of the hangers. And then to the right there, you can see the replaced galvanized steel. We did make every effort to leave what could be left and had ample life left in it. But you can clearly see some of those pieces look like they're off the Titanic. So we really needed to get some of that removed. With that, I'll pass it off to Ron to talk about some of our other critical projects.
All right, thank you, Steve. And this afternoon, talk a little bit with first slide, the hurricane and storm preparedness. First, I'd like to say to the committee, as well as to all the citizens, we are going into peak hurricane season. As you can see, storms can develop fast. And if you notice over the weekend, the tropical storm Hurricane Idalia, really picked up steam from last Friday to Saturday and is projected to be a Category 3 hurricane between Tallahassee and Tampa Bay. So again, the importance of having your hurricane preparedness plan in the queue, be ready, because you never know when you may need it. Relative to the Sewage and Water Board, our hurricane and storm preparedness, we have 93 of 99 major drainage pumps available. All of our turbines are available. Turbine 4, which is our steam turbine, turbine 5 and 6, both of those are our combustion turbines. And we also have our EMDs, which are electromechanical